Imagine you've just won your freedom after centuries of brutal enslavement. The world's most powerful empire promises to respect your liberty. Then one day, a massive fleet appears on the horizon. They say they come in peace, but you soon discover their true, horrifying mission: to put you back in chains. This isn't a fictional story. This is the harrowing reality of what happened in Haiti, and it's a chapter of history that has been deliberately overlooked for far too long. In the late 1700s, the French colony of Saint-Domingue, what we now know as Haiti, was the most profitable colony in the world. It was called the Pearl of the Antilles, but this wealth was built on the backs of 500,000 enslaved Africans who endured some of the cruelest conditions imaginable. But in 1791, they rose up. In a revolution that shook the world, they fought for their freedom, and in 1793, slavery was officially abolished in the colony. A former enslaved man, Toussaint Louverture, rose to become the leader of this new society, navigating a complex world of shifting alliances and colonial ambitions. By 1801, he had established a constitution for Saint-Domingue, outlawing slavery forever and making himself governor for life. He still recognized French authority, but it was clear that the people of Saint-Domingue would govern themselves as a free people. But across the Atlantic, a new power was rising in France: Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon had grand ambitions for a French empire in the Americas, and the Free Black Republic in Saint-Domingue was a direct threat to his vision. A prosperous colony run by former slaves sent a dangerous message to other enslaved populations in the region. For Napoleon, the wealth of Saint-Domingue could only be restored one way: by restoring the brutal system of slavery. So in 1802, he made his move. He dispatched the largest expeditionary force ever to leave France. Over 40,000 veteran soldiers, led by his own brother-in-law, General Charles Leclerc, set sail for the Caribbean. Their public mission was simple: restore French authority and bring order to the colony. But their secret instructions from Napoleon were far more sinister. The orders were explicit: disarm the black soldiers, arrest the black leadership, and methodically, step by step, reimpose slavery on the population. When Leclerc's fleet arrived, he played a game of deception. He sent letters to Toussaint Louverture, promising that France had no intention of revoking their freedom. He claimed he was there to protect the colony and respect the equality of all its citizens. He said things like, "All the people of Saint-Domingue are French, and they are all free and equal before God and the Republic." Many Haitians, including some of Louverture's own generals, were initially convinced. They were tired of war and wanted to believe in France's promises of peace and equality. They laid down their arms and submitted to French authority. But Toussaint Louverture was deeply suspicious. He knew Napoleon's character and understood the immense pressure from former plantation owners who wanted their property back. He famously said, "They have come to trick the blacks. Take care they do not succeed." He was right to be wary. Leclerc's plan was to first lull the Haitians into a false sense of security, then strike. The first part of Napoleon's plan was to remove the head of the revolution. In a shocking act of betrayal, Leclerc invited Toussaint Louverture to a meeting under the pretense of negotiating a peaceful integration. Louverture, hoping to secure a lasting peace for his people, agreed to the talks. It was a trap. As soon as he arrived, he was seized, bound, and put on a ship bound for France. He was imprisoned in the frigid, remote Fort de Joux in the Jura Mountains, a place a world away from the Caribbean sun he had known. Napoleon's orders were to make him suffer. Deprived of proper food, warmth, and medical care, the great leader of the Haitian Revolution, Toussaint Louverture, died in his prison cell in April 1803. Napoleon thought that by eliminating Louverture, the spirit of the revolution would die with him. He could not have been more wrong. While Leclerc was deceiving the Haitians, news from a neighboring island sent a shockwave of terror through Saint-Domingue. In the nearby French colony of Guadeloupe, slavery had also been abolished. But in May 1802, a French force arrived and, after a brutal fight, successfully reinstated slavery. They hunted down and executed the free black leaders and forced the population back onto the plantations. The news spread like wildfire. For the people of Saint-Domingue, This was undeniable proof of France's true intentions. The lies were exposed. They now knew, without a doubt, that the same fate was planned for them. Back in Saint-Domingue, Leclerc began to implement the next phase of his plan. The French army started to systematically disarm the black population and remove black officers from their ranks. They segregated the military, creating all-white units and demoting experienced black soldiers who had fought for their freedom for years. The old plantation system started to reappear. French administrators began forcing people back into the fields under brutal conditions that were slavery in all but name. Then came the mass arrests, deportations, and executions of free people of color. The French brought with them hunting dogs from Cuba, specifically trained to track and attack black people. The terror was escalating daily. It was a clear, calculated return to the old regime of racial hierarchy and forced labor. The mask was off. France wasn't there to restore order, it was there to restore slavery. The brutal reality of France's betrayal accomplished what years of internal conflict could not. It united the Haitian people. Former rivals, black leaders, and mixed-race leaders who had previously fought against each other now saw they had a common enemy. The fight was no longer about political power within the French Empire, it was a fight for survival itself. It was a fight against total re-enslavement. Generals who had initially joined the French, like Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Henri Christophe, and Alexandre Pétion, realized they had been tricked. They broke away from Leclerc's army, taking their troops with them, and launched a new, unified war of independence. Dessalines, a fierce and uncompromising leader who had been Louverture's lieutenant, became the commander-in-chief of this new rebel army. His rallying cry was, "Coupez tête, boulez quai," cut off their heads, burn down their houses. It was a brutal slogan for a brutal war. The Haitians knew there was no going back. It was victory or a return to chains. What followed was one of the most vicious wars in modern history. The French, frustrated by the resistance, resorted to unimaginable atrocities. But the Haitian forces, fighting on their home turf, were relentless. They used guerrilla tactics, their knowledge of the terrain, and their sheer determination to wear down the European superpower. And they had a powerful, unseen ally, yellow fever. The European soldiers, with no immunity to the tropical diseases of the Caribbean, began dying in droves. The disease ripped through the French ranks, incapacitating thousands. General Leclerc himself wrote desperate letters back to Napoleon, begging for more troops and admitting the situation was spiraling out of control. By November 1802, Leclerc himself was dead, a victim of yellow fever. The French expedition, once the pride of Napoleon's army, was being systematically destroyed by disease and the unyielding Haitian resistance. By late 1803, the French army was broken. They had lost over 50,000 soldiers, administrators, and sailors to disease and combat. The remaining forces were cornered, starved, and demoralized. Dessalines' army delivered the final blow at the Battle of Vertières in November 1803, forcing the French to surrender and evacuate the island for good. Napoleon's grand plan to re-enslave Haiti and build a French empire in the Americas had ended in a catastrophic and humiliating defeat. This final, violent betrayal by France sealed Haiti's destiny. The attempt to re-enslave the population made it absolutely clear to Dessalines and the other leaders that true freedom could never be secure under French rule. There could be no compromise, no negotiation. The only path forward was complete and total independence. On January 1st, 1804, in the city of Gonaïves, Jean-Jacques Dessalines stood before the people and declared the birth of a new nation, Haiti. It was the world's first free black republic and the first independent nation in Latin America and the Caribbean. They had not only defeated the army of Napoleon Bonaparte, but they had also destroyed the very idea that they could ever be enslaved again. The Haitian Revolution is a testament to the idea that freedom, once truly tasted, can never be taken away. It's a story of deception, betrayal, and unimaginable brutality, but ultimately it's a story of unity, resilience, and the unconquerable spirit of a people who chose death over slavery. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as powerful as I did, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. It's crucial that these stories are told and remembered. Let me know in the comments what other hidden parts of history you'd like to see covered. See you next time.